Here bringing you another video. I am back on Diablo 4. Season 4 has finally started. It was a little bit of actually supposed to start on April 14th, but because season and let me tell you, this has been so far the best update of Diablo 4. There's so much. They add, and then the blacksmith. Whoa, what the hell was that? I just slide and then nothing here. Different kind of like affixes and stuff. And look at this stuff. You could get like summoning augments and shadow augments, blood augments, all different kinds of stuff. Different kind of finesses and defensive stuff, resource stuff, mobility, and utility. And then you can do what is called the pit. And the pit is right over here. I can't use it right now because I just got done using it. But the pit, that is exactly like the Greater Rift in Diablo 3. So the pit, you unlock different tiers and stuff like that, and you have a time limit. I believe you have 15 minutes. You have 15 minutes to kill as many enemies as you can, and then if you're able to fill up the bar in the allotted time, 15 minutes, a portal will open up saying that the Guardian is waiting for you. You go to the portal, and then you fight the boss at the end, and if you are able to complete that, you get a bunch of legendaries and stuff like that, and then you get certain materials from doing the pit. And once you get the materials, you head back over to the blacksmith here, and then you go all the way over to masterworking. Now, what masterworking does, as you can see, just for example here on my weapon, it says masterworking 4 out of 12. What that means is I can upgrade my weapons and my armor up to 12 ranks. But for every 4 ranks, as you can see on this one, in blue here, I have 1016 maximum life. Now, if I get this up to rank 8, that will go from blue to yellow. And then once I get to 12, that'll go from yellow to orange. Orange being the best. So I'm going to get a lot of help if I upgrade my weapon. And, oh, and another thing here. If you see a piece of armor or a weapon or stuff like that, and you can see I got one, I have 2 currently equipped. Now they have certain kind of gear that has greater affixes, they call it, and that little star-looking thing. Like for my boots, I have +4 to corpse tendrils. That's a greater affix, and these are actually better than normal pieces of gear. You want the pieces of gear that have the greater affixes on them, so be on the lookout for that because they're better than the normal ones. And I also got one on one of my rings here, on the Frenzied Dead one, and that is 149 intelligence. And I also got this to Masterworking rank 4, and that increases my damage. So that's really nice. And I haven't done this one. I haven't done the amulet yet, or my chest, or any of this stuff. So I got a lot to go to get fully maxed out through Masterworking. So another thing I'm going to go over is I'm going to go over this build. This is the Shadow Necromancer, and the Necromancer class is the class to choose in Season 4. It's S tier. It's one of the best out there right now. So I'm going to go over the gear, the skills, the Book of the Dead, and Paragon. So for your helmet, you're going to want Juggernaut helmet there. It'll give you some armor. So so if you get a legendary helmet, just make sure you have the Juggernaut aspect. Oh, and another thing, Uh, nowadays, if you have certain legendaries with aspects on them that you don't want, you go over to the blacksmith and you salvage it, and when you salvage that legendary item, whatever aspect that is on that will automatically be added to the Codex of Power, and you'll be able to use that aspect as much as you want. And I think that's awesome. And that goes for every aspect. All the aspects will now be added to the Codex of Power, which I think it's just awesome. That's phenomenal. Moving on, for the chest, you're going to want the aspect of Hardened Bones to give your minions some increased damage reduction there. For your gloves, you're going to want the aphotic aspect. So your skeletal priest will empower your skeletal warriors attacks to deal shadow damage, and have up to 20%, I think it is, but I have 17% chance to stun enemies for 1.5 seconds. For your pants, you're going to want the aspect of Shooting Storm, because we are using the Bone Storm skill here. So make sure you have Bone Storm on your action bar, so that when you use it, you'll be able to get a barrier every time you use Bone Storm. For your boots, you're going to want to quote the minion to give us a little bit, give us 2 more skeletal warriors and skeletal mages. So very useful. Make sure you have that. For your one-handed weapon, we are using a one-handed weapon in an offhand here for this build. So for the one-handed weapon, you're going to want the aspect of Osseous Gale. And that'll give our Bone Storm to consume up to 8 corpses and increase the duration by up to 11.5 seconds. Make sure you put an emerald in there to get some critical strike damage. You're going to want rubies in your armor, and you're going to want diamond in your jewelry to have resistance to all elements. Alright, so if you put like a ruby in there or a sapphire in there, you only have resistance to one element, whereas the diamond will give you resistance to everything. So make sure you put diamonds in your jewelry. For our legendary focus here, don't use a shield, because the shield, you can't get the aspects that you need for the build if you use a shield, so make sure it's a focus. You're going to want the aspect of reanimation in there, because that gives our minions increased damage while alive up to 30% after 10 seconds. And put an emerald in there to increase your critical strike damage. For our first rain, we're going to want the aspect of Frenzied Dead, so that our minions will get an increased attack speed every time they damage an enemy. So that's really nice. For our second rain, we're going to want the aspect of Blight. That way we get some increased damage for 6 seconds after the Shadow Blight key passive damages enemies 10 times. So you're going to really want the Blighted aspect. And lastly, for the amulet, you're going to want the aspect of Grasping Veins, because we are using corpse tendrils here. So you get 30% increased critical strike chance for 6 seconds, and they deal 60% bonus critical strike damage to enemies damaged by corpse tendrils. So that's really nice. You're going to want that. Alright, for the Book of the Dead, we're going to want the for the Skeletal Warriors, we're going to want the Reapers, and then you're going to pick the second one. Give me 1 second here. We're going to pick the second one because we're going to be wanting to have some corpses here. So our Reapers are going to be creating corpses for us, which is really nice. For Skeletal Mages, we're going with Shadow, and the first one, so that each active Shadow Mage will increase their damage. So that's really nice. And then our Golems, we're going to want Bone, and we're going to want to pick the first one, because every time we use the Golems, they're going to shed 5 corpses for us. So on demand, our Golem will be able to do that. So that's really nice. Alright. The skill tree. To start off, we're going to put a point in Reap and Enhanced Reap so that we can get down to here. Reap is not going to go on your action bar. It's just we're going to spend it in here to unlock these. Then you're going to put 1 point on Living Energy to increase our maximum essence. We're going to max out Huge Flesh to out creating a corpse when we damage the enemies. And then they're going to come down here, put 1 point in corpse explosion, enhanced corpse explosion, and blighted corpse explosion, because this is a blight build. We're going to go with that one there. You're going to max out skeletal warrior mastery because we want the most out of damage for our minions. 1 point in grim harvest, so that consuming the corpse generates essence. And we're going to max out fuel by death for some more damage increase. Come down here, we're gonna max out Death's Embrace so that closer enemies take more damage and they do less damage to us. We're gonna max out Amplified Damage so that when we curse the enemies, we do more damage to them. Then we're gonna put 1 point in Decrepify, Enhanced Decrepify, and Abhorrent Decrepify. We're going to max out Skeletal Mage Mastery so that they do the most out of their damage. Come down here and we're going to max out Reaper's Pursuit because we are using shadow damage. We're going to max out Gloom, max out Terror, and only put 1 point in Crippling Darkness. Now it says 4 out of 3 because item contribution is 3. That was because of the gear that I had. When the top earring I did gave me ranks to Crippling Darkness, so that's really good. But Darkness skills have up to a 50% chance to stun for 5.07 seconds and deal 10,625 shadow damage to them. So thanks to my gear, I do a lot of damage there. We're gonna put 1 point in Necrotic Cure Space that fortifies us a little bit. So this does make us a little bit tanky. We're going to put 1 point in Corpse Tendrils. We're going to put 1 point in Enhanced Corpse Tendrils and 1 point in Plague Corpse Tendrils to make the enemies vulnerable. Then we're going to come down here and we're going to get Bone Storm and Supreme Bone Storm here to increase our critical strike chance. Then we're going to get some passives here. We're going to max out Bonded in Essence to get some maximum life there, and the Skeletal Priest will heal us when we use it. We're going to max out Inspiring Leader, increase our critical strike chance for us and our minions. And we're going to max out Hellbent Commander so that our minions do more damage when you're close to them. Then you're going to max out Golem Mastery because you want the most out of the Golem as well to be able to do some damage. And for a key passive, we're going to go with Shadow Blight, because this is a shadow build, so that's really nice. And that's about it. So this is Big G bringing you another Diablo 4 video. I hope you enjoy this build, enjoy Season 4. There are other builds out there. I believe Frozen Orb Sorcerer is one of them. The Dust Devil Barbarian's another one. But if you don't like those classes, like I don't, just stick with Necromancer. It's the most popular one out there, and hopefully this build works for you just as well as it did me. With this build, I World Tier 4 Capstone Dungeon at only level 59. So this build's really good. And last but not least, Helltide is now on all tiers. So you can do Helltide on all tiers. I started on tier 2 doing Helltides and I leveled up like crazy. In just a matter of 2 days, I went from level 1 to level 47 in 2 days. It was awesome. So far Season 4 has been fantastic for Diablo 4. I hope you enjoy it just as much as I do. And I will see you in the next video. So long.